Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own personal struggles, having borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety attacks, depression. I talk about schizophrenia, bipolar, narcissism, abuse. I talk about all the different kinds of therapies, DBT, CBT, psychodynamic, psychoanalytical, unethical psychologists, and a plethora of other mental health related topics. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I do not hold a degree in psychology. Okay, I am not a therapist. I am not a licensed therapist. I'm not a life coach. So I can't diagnose you, and I can't offer you a professional opinion in any way. All I ask of you in return is to please be kind and respectful in the comments. Be kind to me, be kind to other people who comment. We don't need to agree on everything. But we do need to agree on respect and kindness always. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button on the right there so you will be informed of future videos that come up. You will get notification of them. If you like what you see, hit the like button there on the left, the thumbs up, so I know which videos that are popular. So I can do more of those, and which videos you don't like, so I stay away from those topics. Please feel free to share with me if you feel comfortable. I'm not pressuring anyone in sharing your own struggles with your own mental health problems. I can't offer you a professional opinion, but we can have open communication and dialogue, and we can learn from each other's experiences. Now, today's video is going to be about consumer beware. I've done so many videos, so if you watch some of my past videos, also my introductory video, that you will know I was severely sexually abused by psychologists, more than one. Now, the two I went to the board for were Dr. James Barbaria. He had sex with me for 2 years, which is unethical because I was his patient when he came on to me and had sex with me. He was in a power relationship over me as my doctor, but he also physically pushed me around, verbally assaulted and abused me, emotionally abused me too. Dr. Richard Geist, another one who sexually abused me by allowing me to sit in his lap and touch his penis, roll all over, lay on the floor with him, inviting me to his summer home in Maine, watching me strip totally naked for him, and it goes on and on and on. I've done so many other videos on this topic, but that's not what this video is about. I want to educate people about what I learned, okay? I looked up these two psychologists that I filed licensing board complaints about. Anyone can do it. You can download it, the forms online, fill them out, mail them in. But what I want to educate people about is very important. These psychologists have violated the ethical codes. They're unethical. They sexually abused me, physically and mentally and verbally and emotionally abused me. Now, there's an ongoing investigation against Dr. Richard Geist, but none of his patients know that, and there's no way to look that up. I tried to look it up, right? They can be investigated for years, 2 or 3 years, and still be practicing therapy, collecting $300, that's what he collects, $300, and none of their patients will be any of the wiser, okay? So they can look him up, and it will say he has a current license, that he has no violations or accusations or, complaints against him. That's not true. There is a complaint against him. But if you look that up, it will say no complaints, in good standing, current license. They will say that right there. And it will give today's date, July 1st. So if you look that up, right, you'll say to me, you must be lying. You told me you had a board complaint about him. You said that it's been a year and a half. I'm not lying, okay? I would never lie about these things, because if I did lie about what I'm saying, I could be sued for slander. A person can't lie and deform someone's character, okay? What I'm telling you is 100% truth. I would never put myself in that position to be sued for slander, okay? By making up lies. There's no way that they report that information, okay? They only report it if they take disciplinary action out against the psychologist, or the psychologist surrenders his license. So if the psychologist surrenders his license, it'll be noted. If they have a trial and they take the license away, suspend the psychologist's license, it will be recorded. But if someone files a complaint against a psychologist, no matter what they do, no matter what they've done, it will never be recorded there. I looked it up. No one will know. The psychologist continues to practice. He could have physically abused, sexually abused, emotionally abused dozens of patients. And patients could have come forward like me and filed complaints. But unless he's, the board suspends his license or he surrenders his license, unless those things happen, it will not be on record that he is under investigation, that he's accused of XYZ. It won't be on record that he's accused. It'll look like he has a current good standing with the licensing board. So you can't tell, all right? That's why it's so important that I come out and tell people about this, because I would want to know. Let me ask you a direct question. If you were seeing a psychologist and other patients filed board complaints about that your psychologist sexually, physically, emotionally abused them, would you want to know? Yes or no? Wouldn't you want to know? I mean, I would want to know. If I'm seeing a psychologist, I'm opening up. Opening, all my scars up, and, divulging my deepest, darkest fears and past traumas and abuse. And I would want to know the person that I'm doing that with, wouldn't you? I would want to know if that person hurt another patient. I mean, think about it. If I was going for surgery, right? And I found out another patient filed a complaint against that surgeon, and, it was still being investigated. That surgeon did surgery and made that person, let's paralyze that person. I'm just abstractly thinking, using this as a hypothesis, okay? Hypothetical. I'm just saying this hypothetically. Now, that surgeon, say he did a routine exam, okay, routine colonoscopy, and that person is scarred for life. They can't walk, and now it's an ongoing investigation. But if I look up that doctor, his record is clean, because it's I would switch doctors. I would never want to go to that doctor, because if this happened to that patient, It could happen to me. That's why it's very important for people, to speak up. If you see something, say something. Okay? If something happens to you, say something. Don't keep quiet, because you can help other people. Now, people might say, well, how do we trust what the person is saying? I've been to doctor guys for like 10 years. Why am I going to trust you? I don't even know you. This doctor, has never showed, never come on to me sexually, never let me sit in his lap, never spanked my bottom, which he did. He spanked my bottom while I was in his lap. So why should I believe you, a total stranger? You don't have to believe me, a total stranger, okay? If you can go and ask your therapist, say, this woman has said this, and see how they react. Always trust your gut. That's what I'd say. Always trust your gut. See how they react. See if they emphatically deny it or get defensive. See if they squirm or they, get defensive about it, or just see how they react, You might think you know someone, but you don't know people at all. Even when you're married. You know how many people, I could tell you, tons of, just watch the news, all right? Thought they knew someone. Look at Chris Watts. He was married 8 years, right? And she thought Shanann Watts thought she had a video saying he's the best thing that ever happened to me. And what did he end up doing? He ended up killing her unborn boy, Nico, and their 2 daughters, Bella and Celeste. After she was married 8 years to him, had 2 children, she did a whole video saying he's the best thing that ever happened to me. So that was her husband, who she lived with. So even if you had someone as a therapist for 10 years, you didn't live with them. Am I right? You don't know, you think they come on, like I said, therapists are actors. They're in a role. They don't really care about you. They're getting paid. That doctor's getting paid $300 an hour. $300 for, not an hour, 50 minutes. $300 for 50 minutes to put on his therapy hat and sit there and act like they're listening to you. You don't know what's going on in their head. They could be half listening to you and thinking of 100 other different things, the football game, or his vacation coming up. You don't know. So if you don't trust a stranger coming on and telling you that this therapist abused me and is under so far a 1.5-year board investigation, and it could go on for another 2 years, I would want to know. That's why I'm coming on and I speak up for everyone. Consumer beware. And if I didn't trust the person, which I'm a stranger too, how can you trust what I say, right? Then I would ask the psychologist, and see how they respond. Ask the psychologist. This woman is saying she was your patient and that you did A, B, C to her. Is this true? Watch how they respond. See if they get defensive. See if they deny it. See how they respond. It's very important. And then trust your gut. After, trust your gut. That's the most important thing. Every time I trust my gut, it's always true. And I kick myself and regret so many times that I didn't trust my gut. I didn't trust my gut the first time I went to the board in 2006 over Dr. Richard Geist. He brainwashed me to cancel that board complaint. I didn't trust my gut the second time I went to the board in 2008. Again. It took 3 attempts for me to finally go through with the licensing board complaint. 3 attempts. 3. And now Dr. James Barbaria, he died. So it says on, if you look him up, it will say license expired because deceased. He died before the trial. You could be on trial for murder. And if you die before they find you guilty, you're innocent. You're innocent because you died before the trial. And another thing, if a psychologist is having sex with one patient, guaranteed, almost guaranteed, that they're having sex with others. I know he said I was special and I was his only one he had sex with, but I'm no fool now. I used to be. He probably was having sex with many patients. Now, I can't say that he was, because there's no proof. I can't come out here and say he was, because that'd be slanderous. But I can say he had sex with me and coerced me into doing it, because it happened to me. But what I read, the literature I read is, if it happens to you, almost over 80% chance he's doing it with other patients, or has done it with other patients. So I just want to inform people as consumers, especially not just any consumers, you're a patient, all right? Think what you're putting on the line when you go to a doctor, okay? I would want to know if there were complaints about this doctor, and there's no way to find that out, all right? These investigations take years. It could take 2 or 3, maybe even 4, I don't know. It's been a year and a half. And I keep asking, I keep writing in to the, I forget the head of investigations, or I don't know his title. I keep writing in, asking him what's going on. And he said, I have no new information, the case is ongoing. That's all he says. I have no information, the case is ongoing. And it's been a year and a half and he can't tell me a thing. And none of his patients know a thing. But I come on these videos, on LinkedIn, I write the newsletters to try to educate people that, guess what? He is under investigation. It's been a year and a half. And this is what he's being investigated for. And this happened to me. It should matter. It happened to me. I was violated. So I'm not going to keep quiet. He tried to keep me quiet for 16 years. Now, it's my turn to speak up. And I've written books. I have all the links to my books below about just what happened in these therapies and how these therapists violated me, re-traumatized me, and I want to spread the word to warn people. Okay, if you had any bad experiences in your therapy, and you feel you want to share that, you don't have to mention the therapist's name like I do, you know. I always appreciate people opening up if they feel comfortable with that, opening up about their experiences too. You're not alone out there, okay?